Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. This is the Monday Night Raw review. Raw before the Royal Rumble this coming Saturday. And boy, oh boy, is the men's and women's field stacked as we head into Saturday's Royal Rumble. Lots to unpack from Raw. Obviously, lots coming up this coming week on SmackDown and NXT. Transfers have also happened. We'll get into someone that has moved to SmackDown from Raw. And coincidentally, we have been told that the transfer window closes this weekend at the Royal Rumble. So the last moves will be made during this weekend. But somebody that we now know has signed a multiple year agreement with the WWE. It will come as a surprise to absolutely no one that the juggernaut Jordan Grace is signed to the WWE for in a long-term contract. That is a big move that could have Royal Rumble implications this coming Saturday, of course, at the Royal Rumble. Does that throw a spanner into the works as to who's going to win the women's one? If you remember, myself and Andy were both stipulating or saying that we think Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch could win it. However, I did mention that the wild card could indeed be Jordan Grace, and perhaps they're going to go down the road to Jordan Grace versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. That could possibly happen now. Or is Jordan Grace going to debut on NXT? There was talk about this. And I think that the NXT women's division right now is too stacked, full of top quality. If you look at it, Cora Jade, who coincidentally will be on TNA this week, Roxanne Perez. You've got the Australian woman. Forgive me, the name doesn't come to me right now. You've got Julia. You've got Stephanie Vacquer as well. You've got five top women there. Jordan Grace would be six. I'm not entirely sure that she would fit down. Not that she would fit down in NXT, but I think that women's division may be just too stacked. Call ups could happen, of course, that could change the course of that. I understand that. But as it stands right now, as we're talking, my prediction would be Jordan Grace straight to the main roster and potentially straight into a high profile feud should she win the Royal Rumble this coming Saturday. Now, somebody else who Jordan Grace has confirmed, excuse me, is also a free agent. It is her husband, Jonathan Gresham. There's a name that I'm not saying it's going to debut at the Royal Rumble, but there's a name right there available. Is he going to explore the free market agency? There was issues with AEW. I think him and Tony Khan may have patched things up, but if I remember rightly, there was issues there. But potentially there. Now he could be one that could go to NXT. There's an opportunity there. Or there's also the possibility here, and it's just literally come to me as we were doing this. There's a storyline going on right now with Chad Gable, Dominic Mysterio, where Chad Gable's got a quote unquote luchador problem, and Dominic gave him a name of somebody that could help. Now that could also be somebody that could also be an actual luchador. It's Dr. Wagner Jr. or something along those lines. He is also attracting interest from the WWE. Could go down the Jonathan Gresham route as well. So there is plenty of stuff to going on to. Some injury news. There's an injury that took place at Raw, which we'll get to in a minute, but there is an injury. Dakota Kai, unfortunately, again out with time with concussion. She'll need to pass concussion protocol before she can come back in. We hope that it's not too long to have her back, but it's just again as the momentum starts with Dakota, an injury happens. It's a shame. It's an all too regular occurrence for her, and it's such a shame because again, she was building up. She was in the finals of the Intercontinental Championship tournament that they'd done to crown the first women's champion, but unfortunately, that dreaded injury curse for her has struck again. But hopefully, she will be back very, very soon for sure. Now, Raw this week, Atlanta, Georgia. Goldberg was announced previously. That died down. There was no Goldberg at Atlanta, Georgia. Who there was, though, was Seth freaking Rollins, and he kicked off Monday Night Raw this week, signaling his intentions of being in the Royal Rumble and winning the Royal Rumble. that was Seth. He's coming out to do that. Obviously, fresh off his loss of CM Punk as well. And obviously, he did beat Drew McIntyre last week. But it's time for his redemption, apparently, in the most star-studded Royal Rumble of all time, according to Seth Rollins. I think that's a very, very true statement. Obviously, John Cena is in that as well. We got to forget. He's going to toss Drew McIntyre out. He's going to toss Sami Zayn out. He's going to toss CM Punk out. And he's basically thinking right now, well, who do I face when I win? His words was, who do I face when I win? Cody Rhodes, who he's had a history with. Never beat Cody Rhodes yet as well. And also, there is Gunther, the Ring General. And funnily enough, that brung out the Ring General. And they had a bit of a to-do on the microphone, really sort of saying that, Gunther really saying, I don't even know if you've still got it in you, Seth, to beat me or even to win the Royal Rumble, which was quite interesting enough. And those two were having their little back and forth. And that brings out the Maverick. No, not Tommy Kyle. Logan Paul comes out. And you know what? Funnily enough, he declares himself into this year's Royal Rumble. And that's what he was talking about, going on to win the Royal Rumble. And he was saying that he could choose Cody or he can choose Gunther. And the crowd at this were really getting on Logan Paul. You deafening chants on there as well. But funnily enough, Gunther was like, do you know what, Seth? Do you know what? I changed my mind. I don't want you to win the Royal Rumble. I want Logan Paul to win the Royal Rumble so I can punch them, well, basically punch him in the face and knock that stupid smirk off of his face. And Seth was like, funnily enough, I'm with you on that, but he can't win the Royal Rumble because I'm going to embarrass you and take my title back. Interesting start to Raw. Lots of Royal Rumble stuff. CM Punk was next with Kathy Kelly. He's having an interview. And of course, he's going to win the Royal Rumble. Of course, he would chuck Kathy Kelly's ass out. Well, wishful thinking, maybe, on that. But look, and that brought in Sami Zayn. Now, Sami Zayn and CM Punk had a few little bits and pieces. And funnily enough, Sami Zayn did say this kind of like CM Punk, like, you're not at my level because I've main evented WrestleMania, whereas you haven't. That's a interesting bit. And as that finishes, Sammy runs into Karrion Kross. Lots going on, right? Lots going on. Karrion Kross and Seth Rollins have been Kross has been kind of getting up to that echelon where he's looking for, the higher level opponents now, which is great. But now he runs into Sami Zayn. He says Sammy doesn't need to worry about his reputation. And Sammy's like, just stop your mind games, Kross. He doesn't have time. He doesn't have time for those mind games. But interesting, though, because can't forget about Kevin Owens, is what Kross was saying as well. What Kevin Owens said, obviously, about thinking about Kevin Owens said last week that Sami Zayn was going to help him win the Royal Rumble. And then Cody Rhodes appears at Kross as Kross is walking away. Sammy nervously said that it's good to see Cody, pats him on the chest and walks away before Cody has a chance of saying anything. So more on that because something does happen a bit later on in the show. So we'll get to it. They show A-Town Down Under. They show the Creed brothers. They all come his 2 Chainz at ringside, because it's on Netflix now. Every star's coming up because it's on Netflix. But that finally gets us to the first match. Yes, there was a long time before we got to the first match, but it was the men's tag team championships. The War Raiders, easy for me to say, took on the Judgment Day. Now, the Judgment Day was the team of Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough. Finn Balor away or injured during this. Now, we did mention an injury, which I think may have played into not necessarily the result of the match itself. JD McDonough does a moonsault from the inside, from the top rope out. As he lands, he goes back like that, the neck hits the announce table. JD McDonough still carried on the match, but suffered broken ribs and a punctured lung. And he actually collapsed backstage as he went through. He got carried off to a medical facility or a hospital, and that's going to keep him out for a couple of months. Now, the War Raiders did indeed pick up the victory. They got Miss Dominic Mysterio got hit with the War Machine on this. There was a lot of interference, as you can imagine, Carlito and everyone getting involved. But I just, yes, again, JD McDonough, I feel sorry for him, being injured the way that he was an absolute warrior for continuing that match. I mean, Jesus, he should have stayed out. I mean, you could tell. I mean, he was neck was all red. He was red around the back, and yeah, really, really, such a shame for JD McDonough. But the War Raiders did indeed take the victory and retain those tag team championships. But again, we do wish JD McDonough a very speedy recovery. Now, breaking transfer news on WWE on Raw this week. Selena Vega heading over to SmackDown without the other members of the LWO. So Selena Vega carve maybe now looking to carve her own destiny. She has been one of those really hard workers. She's got a great look, great body. She's got an improvement in the ring. She's really looking good right now. This could be the opportunity for Selena Vega to perhaps be the one that ends up dethroning Chelsea Green for that United States Championship. This is why it's such an important thing, why we have women's championships like mid-card and undercard women's championships, like the Intercontinental and the US, because it will give people like Selena, like it's given Chelsea Green, like it's given Lara Vakira an opportunity here. Chin. We've seen B-Fab more recently on SmackDown. She's improved a lot training with Natty and TJ in the dungeon, and you could see that she's come on leaps and bounds. And this is why it's massively important that those women's mid-card championships were in. I think it's a great idea. Selena Vega off to SmackDown on her own to carve out her own destiny, potentially. Now, Rey Mysterio was in action of the LWO. It was the last time that she was going to be on outside of there with the LWO, as Rey Mysterio took on Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods with the parents in the front row who was wearing New Day Sucks t-shirts. So Xavier Woods been divorced from his parents, a lot like Kofi Kingston was a little while ago. Look, really good match this. We haven't seen enough really of Xavier Woods. Again, Xavier Woods is really, really good as a single. You do forget that of how good these guys are. Because you don't really see him enough. And it was, Xavier Woods has really got it strong. It's just unfortunate that I don't think there is going to be any chance of Xavier Woods doing anything as a single in the WWE. I think Kofi won. Kofi and the Big E both winning the World Championship. Woods, I don't think will ever get there. Would he win the United States or an Intercontinental? Maybe. But I just think Woods, he's such a great athlete, don't get me wrong, but I think time has passed and too much time may have passed in that one, unfortunately. But it is what it is. Jey Uso was basically coming down to the ATL crowd to hype him up to do his entrance as well. There was Lyra Valkyria, funnily enough, about the Intercontinental Champion, and she does want to make that championship a fighting championship. This is obviously why Jey Uso is coming out. Now, funnily enough, one of those people involved could well be Ivy Nile, who would be an interesting one for them. I think that would be a great opportunity. Ivy Nile, I said, could easily be a champion in WWE. She could easily be the Intercontinental Champion. She's one again that's got everything. She's very powerful. For someone that's not, hasn't really got the height, she's got the strength factor. She's got the quickness. She's, again, very, very hard worker. Lyra, and I don't see Lyra dropping the title straight away. I think Ivy Nile may take a bit of time, but I do believe that she could get it at a later date. Again, very, very good worker. I think she's really, really good. So maybe Ivy Nile at a later point, but Lara Valkyria wants to be a fighting champion. So we'll see who comes first for Lara Valkyria. Now, as we mentioned, Jey Uso was coming down to the ring before they went backstage. And again, look, it is all about the Royal Rumble. So what does Jey Uso do? Well, he's going in the Royal Rumble. Yeet. And he wants to be the World Heavyweight Champion. Look, he's lost 3 times against Gunther. I don't think. Oh, look, Jey Uso isn't going to win the Royal Rumble. Let's be real, and that's not a disrespect to Jey Uso. He's just not going to do it. They said, there's too many guys in there. The star-studded name is, star-studded for a reason. There is just too many big names in the Royal Rumble. Jey Uso isn't going to beat them. Isn't going to win the Royal Rumble. Unfortunately, I think he'll have a good outing. I think he'll be in there a while, definitely. But winning it, absolutely not. Not for me. Punk for me, by the way. Going with Punk. But Jey Uso, yeah, wants to win the World Heavyweight Title. Will he ever win it? That's a good question. Will Jey Uso ever win the World Heavyweight Championship? And you know what? I don't know. He could. But again, you look at the people above him. And if you're WWE, who are you going to put it on? They really messed up the Intercontinental reign of Jey Uso for a start. Let's be real about that. The Uso Intercontinental reign was rubbish, and that was due to Braun Breaker, WWE pushing him. Yeah, I don't know. Is the answer. I don't think he will ever win a Royal Rumble. Injuries may happen. Don't get me wrong. Maybe he could do a Money in the Bank thing. Maybe he wins that and gets an opportunity that way. I don't know. But Jey Uso for a world champion, I don't see it. I really don't see it. I would see him probably going back with Jimmy and becoming tag champions again before they've got the world championship. But anyway, speaking of tag champions and tag team matches, this was Bianca Belair and Naomi against Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez. This was quite long, to be fair. This was really quite a long tag match. And I think it was good because you don't really see, the women do get long. Generally at WrestleMania, they get longer matches, and this is the kind of thing. But to have these four women, great workers in there. Raquel was nice to see her in the ring actually doing something instead of being on the outside of the ring. Liv Morgan obviously losing the women's championship to Rhea Ripley. What happens to her? I know she's in the Royal Rumble. Dominic does get involved into this, and it was actually part of the reason why Raquel and Liv Morgan did lose the victory on this. But Raquel did hit Naomi with a Tejada bomb on the ring apron and let Liv Morgan pick up the victory. Now, Liv Morgan is indeed somebody who Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez is somebody who the WWE are looking at pushing from the news that come out of this weekend, that they are heavily getting prepared for a push for both of these two. So perhaps the World Tag Team Champions will soon be Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. That's where Bianca and Naomi come unstuck. I'm assuming at the Royal Rumble this weekend, we may see the return of Jade Cargill, and that may coincide with who attacked Jade Cargill, which is predominantly looking like Naomi is the person. And that's kind of been forgotten a little bit. So we'll see on that one. But yes, Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan picks up a victory this week. Rhea Ripley was backstage with Kathy Kelly. And Rhea Ripley was actually, I think she was given a bit of a stinger at the weekend by Nia Jax in the match at Saturday night's main event. But she said she's healing. And, and that brought Bayley into it. Now, Bayley obviously won the Royal Rumble as well. And Bayley's in the Royal Rumble, and basically Bayley was saying that she's going to win it again and potentially will take on Rhea Ripley, and that brought out Io Sky. Now Io Sky and Bayley have a history going back to Damage Control, and Io Sky then said that she'll see Bayley on Saturday. So there we go. More palpitations for the Women's Royal Rumble. We saw that Roman Reigns would be gracing the cover of WWE 2K25. There is, of course, a Bloodline edition to that, which will set you back more money. But you can watch it. Yeah, that's for sure. Great news. Another YouTuber's coming to the Royal Rumble. Kaya Kanat. So is IShowSpeed. Fuck off. Just fuck off. Anyway, Penta. He has announced that he is going to be in the Royal Rumble. Cielo Miedo. But he also got into a little bit with Braun Breaker. So there's also the Intercontinental Championship there. Braun Breaker may end up facing Penta El Zero at some point for the Intercontinental Championship. That I would love to see. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Paul Heyman. He was there as well. He was talking about, obviously, Roman Reigns. He was talking about Roman Reigns being on the cover of 2K25. Interrupted by Drew McIntyre. And he was like, "You look kind of nervous, Paul." He goes, "The only person that should be nervous around here is Sami Zayn." And he just wanted to talk to Paul Heyman. He goes, "We never really get to talk much." Funnily enough. He said when Drew McIntyre made a point, when he won the Royal Rumble in 2020, he eliminated Roman Reigns. He went on to slay the beast at WrestleMania that year. He did indeed. The WrestleMania with no fans. Um, yeah. And he was going to do it again this year. And he's going to eliminate Roman Reigns and he's going to WrestleMania. He said, and that went on and went on. He said, I want you to do me a favor, basically, McIntyre. And Paul Heyman said, what's the favor? He said, can you please tell your boy from Drew McIntyre that this Saturday I'm going to target him and I'm going to beat him with an inch of his life. And I'm going to throw his lifeless carcass over the top rope. Can you do that for me? He said, and Paul Heyman said, I'll give you my word. I'll pass that message on to my tribal chief, Roman Reigns. And Drew was like, why are you doing it to Roman Reigns? I was talking about your boy, CM Punk. No, they're obviously not finished. Those lot are not finished. They had some wars last year, and McIntyre has not forgot. But that led to the match between Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre, which Drew McIntyre did end up winning. Cody Rhodes gets involved in this. He got haluva kicked by Sami Zayn to end Raw. Kevin Owens was at ringside. It didn't end Raw. There was a segment after that. I go back to it. Kevin Owens comes out. Cody Rhodes comes out. Sami Zayn haluva kicks Cody Rhodes by accident. Kevin Owens slaps him on the chest. Thanks, boy. Leaves the ring, which brings into the message from Saturday, or from last week when Kevin Owens said, I'll know you'll do the right thing at the Royal Rumble when I go against Cody Rhodes for the championships. And now that's going to throw seeds of doubt into everybody's mind. Is Sami Zayn going to turn and join forces with Kevin Owens and help him win the championship? I doubt it, but it planted the seed ahead, planted the seeds in everybody's head. And as Cody Rhodes was getting up, he was talking about how he's going to beat Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble. CM Punk comes out. And Punk said, hey, look, I'm not going to stab you in the back. I'm going to stab you in the front because that's what friends do. Indicating that he would obviously stab Cody Rhodes in the front. And with that ending, and it does end that way, and end up, it does end with Raw, these two walking, not walking out, but it ends up with these two going face to face at the end of Raw. Not Apollo Crews. He's another one injured. Sorry, by the way, I forgot about that. And Raw ended with Cody Rhodes saying to CM Punk, "You're not the best in the world anymore," and we will find that out if you ever face me for the championship. Now, interestingly enough, that for me, again, kind of saying, well, CM Punk's winning the Rumble. That ending for me pretty much confirmed it, that CM Punk would be winning the Royal Rumble this year and would probably go on to face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, but we will find out. At the end of Raw, with Raw went off the air, Carmelo Hayes actually attacked Cody Rhodes and he got obviously crossroad and put through a table when Raw went off the air. But that was Raw, ladies and gentlemen. The last Raw before the Royal Rumble. Lots of palpitations, lots of new people going in. We're expecting surprises. We're expecting shocks. We're expecting a lot from this coming Saturday. Could well be the best Royal Rumble for quite some time. We're looking forward to it. We'll have it all reviewed on Sunday. Coming up on the channel, Rob Van Dam. And also, I can announce another guest that's coming up from the Attitude Era. Interview with the Vampire, as Adam and Dave, or me and Dave, will be interviewing Gangrel very, very soon. I know Dave is very much looking forward to that one as well. Also, the top 10 will be returning very soon with the 10 best promos. Myself and Dave will be going through that, so don't forget to watch that when it comes out. Big thanks to Sean Mooney. That interview is available right now on our channel, so go and get yourselves on that. Go and subscribe to us at HTT Buckle on X, HTT Buckle on YouTube, Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast on Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok. We'll be back this week, dropping tomorrow. Adam Bolt, the independent showcase of Adam Bolt, will be dropping tomorrow. Also on Thursday, you will see the NWA Power Review, myself and the lovely Fiona Lochran, who will be just about to go and pick up the legendary JR before we get onto this. So don't forget to do that. Dropping soon as well, NWA Spotlight with Daisy Kill. That was a great chat with him. And Fuego del Sol will be stopping in to talk all things wrestling as well. So keep it locked on the channels until then. But until we're back tomorrow, everybody, buckle down, stay safe. Goodbye.